Happy Father's Day to all my fathers out there. Wanted to hop on here and speak man to man, father to father, and whoever else is listening is welcome as well, about this mantle of responsibility, of leadership that we have as fathers. I believe that being a parent is one of the highest, if not the highest calling that you can have in this life. Rearing these little children, these clones, this innocence into adolescence, into adulthood, sends obviously ripple effects down your family line and for generations to come, but also outward to other families, right? To every single person that they'll interact with, the people that they will marry, the whole world, as we have this blessing of creation and of parenting. I wanted to speak a little on what I believe my responsibilities are as a father, and things that I've learned. I'm very young in my fatherhood journey. I have a 3-year-old and I have a 2-year-old girl dad, and like everything in my life, I'm very diligent and constantly absorbing new ways, better ways in which I can fulfill this calling of fatherhood. And in my short journey, some of the things that I believe fathers are meant to teach their children are resilience, whereas the mother teaches and gives more of the nurturing. That's her strong suit. The father's strong suit is to teach resilience in life when things don't go your way, when you're out adventuring, when you're even as simple as roughhousing. That's the stage I'm in with my girls right now. This resilience can't be replicated anywhere else. It's something that fathers really have an innate ability to teach their children. Now, I'm not saying that fathers shouldn't have nurturing. That is a essential part of fatherhood, is that nurturing side. I think the resilient side is more built in to our biology, whereas the nurturing side, we more so have to connect to the nurturer within ourselves, learn how to nurture ourselves, and then we can connect with our children in this way and learn how to nurture them as well. And so resilience and nurture are a huge aspect of being a father. And what else? To be a father, I believe that you are teaching structure, you're teaching boundaries. My father-in-law says you got to give them some vitamin N sometime, vitamin no. And I think that is healthy, especially in the stage that my girls are at right now. For example, when you're 3, 4, 5 years old, you're developing your ego, you're developing your sense of self, your self-identity. And what happens in this stage that can be very detrimental is 2 extremes. There's one extreme of the father setting up structure and boundaries and enforcing them. He's the enforcer. And the child learns to suppress their will, really, their identity, their willpower, their desires. They suppress all of that because when the father is the enforcer, he's using a lot of manipulation, he's using a lot of fear tactics, a lot of threatening. If you don't do this, then this is going to happen. And that's one end of the spectrum, one extreme that a father can become if he is not careful, is someone who suppresses their child's desires or their child's behaviors through fear, through manipulation. And then the other side is those fathers that are the best friend, that don't have any kind of enforcer. They just want to keep it cool and keep it cordial. They're kids, and so they don't enforce at all. What happens to a child in this stage is if they have no boundaries and no sense of structure, then their ego can grow too big, right? Their self-identity can be, the world is mine, and very egocentric. The world is mine, I have no rules, I can do what I want. And so the kid becomes very egocentric, which doesn't go away once you grow up. So those are the two extremes, right? The enforcer, the punisher, and the best friend, and the soft father that doesn't ever put up boundaries. These two extremes are easy to lean towards. It's easy for us as humans to go to the extremes, whether it's within this scenario or within politics or with religion. It's really easy for us to gravitate towards extremes and start to cement our belief systems or our behaviors around these extremes. I think it's really important to be aware of them so that we can find that happy medium where we can, on one hand, set up structure and boundaries and give them vitamin no, tell them no, but not do it in a way of suppression or manipulation or fear. And then at the same time, give them the leash, give them the reins. Like this father that is the best friend is really good at making these children independent and learning on their own and trial and error, attempting something and then receiving the natural consequence. So there's medicine in both of these extremes in which we can take towards the middle and become this balanced father. The importance of this, especially in childhood development psychology, in the chakra system, in pretty much all sciences, it's really, really important. These ages of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this early childhood is where we are affecting the emotional body, the mental body, the way they feel and the way they think, and their identity, really at the core of it, can become warped by the way that we parent. It's really important to know ways in which you can find this balance as a father. The ways that I've learned it, not so much by study, but more so by experience, by experiencing and allowing my woman, the mother of my children, to lead and to give me feedback and to not take that as an attack, but to be like, oh, you're right, I am doing that and I wasn't even aware of it. And at first it always, hits my pride, and I'm like, no, I'm the dad, I'm supposed to be teaching resilience. I'm the dad, I'm supposed to be the enforcer. But really, what are the most detrimental things that you can do to your child is, and it's okay if you've done this, because you can always try again, but is becoming this father that teaches resilience, that teaches boundaries, that teaches structure, that teaches obedience, that teaches diligence, but does not follow it up with true love, unconditional love. It's really easy when we talk about obedience to put conditions around the love that we're going to give, or even conditions around the ability to listen to them. If our children are disobeying, then instead of listening to them or explaining the reason, explaining the why, we let our hardened heart, our cold, calloused nature do the directing, especially in tantrums, because our emotions are getting involved, right? When there's tantrum and there's a lot of energy, a lot of heat coming off of a toddler, we want to just cut it out and we want to go to the child and we want to pick them up and we want to just be the enforcer, right? Put them in their room, show no emotional empathy or reflection to the kid. Now, what this is doing to the kid might not seem like that big of a deal in the moment. They'll quit the temper tantrum, they'll level back out. But repeated times of not showing any emotional connection or empathy or listening, repeatedly doing this is going to teach the kid a lot of things subconsciously. Everything that we do to our children, especially 0 to 7 years old, because 0 to 7 years old, they are in theta brainwave most of their life. They're in, or most of their, all their life, 0 to 7, they're in theta, which means they're not learning logically of like, oh, my dad treated me like this, but he still loves me. They're more so just absorbing the energy. So if they've got a lot of emotion and we're cold back, they're absorbing that reaction, and they're creating subconscious conclusions, subconscious scripts of, oh, my dad doesn't care. Oh, when I cry, he doesn't care. Oh, when this is really important to me, it doesn't matter. And I shouldn't show that it matters. Or, oh, my dad's yelling. Oh, my dad's spanking. Some of these things teach the kid like, oh, I should not trust my dad as a source for someone that I can go to when I have a lot of feelings or when I'm not behaving as he would have me to behave. Now, the subconscious, anytime we talk about the subconscious, it's really, really deep. On the surface level, most people, and a lot of fathers I know, are gonna write that off and be like, oh no, the kid's fine. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that too. It's not until I got a real experiential understanding, coupled with a lot of the psychology I went to school for and studies, but really an experiential understanding of how my kid is perceiving and receiving my state of being, and how I am either reacting or responding to whatever's going on. The most important thing not to suppress for your child as a father is their emotions. If they are very emotional and you have to leave the store or you have to get them to go to bed, not saying just let them stay up, but you have to be very careful of responding to their emotions. Not using fear so that they suppress their emotions, not using, threats and things of this nature so that they are controlled. And it's really a thing about control. Anytime me as a father, I'm trying to control their thoughts, their feelings, and their behaviors, I know that I'm infringing a little bit on their will, on their agency. And even if I know what's better for them and I know that I need to teach them and I need to discipline them, I can do it in a way in which I am taking a step back from trying to control the situation, and I can sync up with them emotionally. I can sync up with them with my eyes and with my ears, looking at them and listening to them, and listening really, and asking clarifying questions. Why do you not want to go to bed? Why is this such a big deal for you? How can I make this better? How can we do something else? And asking those questions. And of course, I'm in the 2 and 3 year old stage, so there's no negotiating with a terrorist, right? There's no negotiating with the toddler terrorist sometimes. And I owe everything that I'm talking to really to my wife, because she's so perfect at this nurturing side, at this empathy side, at this listening. And as I learn from her and incorporate it into my parenting, it makes me a lot more effective at teaching the resilience and the discipline and the structure and the boundaries. And it's because before, during, and after I am instilling the discipline, the resilience, or setting up the boundaries, or telling them no, before, during, and after, I have a true sense of unconditional love. I'm there for them. I'm there for it. I'm in it with them. I'm listening. I'm looking at them. I'm feeling them. I'm not callousing. I'm not suppressing. I'm not just getting it done. I'm not controlling. I'm connecting with my child in a way and then teaching them the discipline and the resilience and all these things that matter. Fatherhood is the greatest blessing of my life, and honestly, it's the one thing I always knew I wanted to be growing up. It never wavered. I always knew that I wanted to be a father, and because of that, there is an aspect of it that is actually really easy. And maybe I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, because not everyone will agree with this, but I think being a parent and being a father can be the easiest thing in the world. If we emphasize that love and that connection, and maybe that's just, it's so joyous for me. It's so joyous, and tap into those feelings, then it can be something that's really easy. Now, that's not saying that it's really perfect. As easy as it is for me to be a father, it is still something that I'm a beginner at. I'm very, very, very imperfect at. But what's amazing is as I'm working on myself and the way that I'm able to father to them, I have an opportunity to do a lot of my own inner child work and almost reparent my inner child through parenting my children. And when, for example, my oldest is a lot like me, very stubborn, very, very stubborn, and she knows what she wants and she's gonna fight to get it. And that's something that has served me in my life. I have a lot of stories from when I was her age, where I was just a very intense and stubborn toddler. And it was honestly a identity that I carried for a long time, because I was told that that's what I was growing up. And I always saw it as a weakness, but really it's a strength. Any perceived weakness that we have is a strength, either overused or underused. Everything that we have can serve us. All of our personality traits, all of our predispositions, all of our attributes can serve us. When they become weaknesses, it's because they're either overused, my trait of stubbornness, for example, or underused. Where the trick is not suppressing my daughter's stubbornness, but helping guide it to something that's going to serve her highest and best good, and help her also incorporate these other attributes of obedience, discipline, humility, bring in these other attributes and still use that stubbornness as a tool instead of that stubbornness using her or using you, right? So that's something that I've been very conscious of, and I'll actually catch myself as I am enforcing something with my daughter. I'll catch myself in a reactionary state where I'm just reacting and I'm forcing her to do something, or maybe I'm saying things to instill fear so that she obeys. And the moment of awareness will come, and I'll be like, oh, this might get her to do what I want, but at what cost? What other emotional imprints is this going to leave on her? What other subconscious conclusions and scripts is she going to take away from this? And so those are the moments that I have to step back and I have to start opening my heart and outpouring the love and getting on the same page of her. One of the biggest practical things that you can do as a father to get on the same page is to just sit down on their level, get eye to eye with them. If I'm over her and I'm telling her she needs to do something, it's very easy for me to feel like I am the one enforcing. But if she's having a tantrum and I sit down on the ground and I'm at her level, immediately our eye contact is better. Immediately I'm thinking about her reality and her world and what's so important for her, and I'm listening to her. So that's one of the most important things that I feel like I've done. for my daughters is just get on their level, physically, mentally, emotionally, and feel how they feel before I react, before I have a reaction and I make them do something that I want them to do. When I pressed play of this video, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. I wanted to say Happy Father's Day. It was, I thought, going to be a really short video. But yeah, I've been reflecting on some of the fatherhood lessons and how really amazing my children are. Already at 3 and 2 years old, I can tell how amazing they are, how they are so ahead of the game. Their consciousness is already at a level that is, although they can't communicate it, far surpassed what I believe I'm at, or most adults are at. I think the children coming in to the world at this time are very elect. They are very high vibrational beings. And if I'm not careful, I can suppress and wound and enforce and control them into who I think they are. But as a father, my job is to allow them to be who they are, to offer guidance, to offer direction in a resilient way, in a disciplined way, and most importantly, in a loving way, so that they can continue to learn who they are and become who they're meant to be, not who I think they're meant to be. Thank you for joining my TED Talk, my YouTube talk on fatherhood, and I hope you got some value of it. And if you agree, disagree, go ahead, hit up the comments of this YouTube video. I love discussion about these things, and I don't believe that I'm right in any way. These are just my perceptions and my experience and my feelings. The reason why I have my men's group isn't because of I'm a victim and I see all these victims of people that are just stuck in their trauma loops. That's not the reason. The healing the past, the processing the past, is only for the reason of moving forward in the future and being a better husband in the future, being a better father in the future. So a big thing in the men's mental health group that I have is being able to process all that so that we know where we're self-sabotaging as men, where we're self-sabotaging as husbands, where our partners may feel unsafe in our relationship at a very deep level. And also, being Father's Day, where we can be better fathers to our children and leaders to all those around us. And I know you're doing amazing. If you've made it this far in the video, you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing even if you didn't make it this far. But I love you. Happy Father's Day, and remember to keep smiling.